see. Yeah, let's go like this. A little better look here. That might work. Make a little better place to look at here. At least a little easier position to look at. Try a couple things. Yeah, I'm pretty up there, so I can't do much with that. Can do this. This might work a little bit nicer. So again, right on top. So, yeah. All right, I think that's gonna work a little better. At least for now. Move that over there. And this over here. That was it. Okay, I think that's gonna work out a little bit better, I think. Actually move this over a little bit more. Hey, look at that. Might actually have a little room to work here. All right, so now that I'm kind of squared away, how's everybody doing? Glad to see you on this side of the daisies today. Glad to be on this side of the daisies today. Always a good thing to wake up on the right side of the daisies. So I got this set up here ready to go into the RedShift. I've been trying to get a few of those things done, tranny and a few other parts set up on it, ready to go. And as you can kind of see laying here, I picked up the Drag Race Concepts ESC. I've got this Maclan V2VM 4.5 turn drag spec motor. Let me see. I don't think it really shows a heck of a lot on the box, other than you can see it's, you know, the 4.5. That's right, I'm not up there anymore. 4.5 is marked out on the box right here. Under the V2M side. And it really doesn't say anything else on the outside of the box. I picked it up secondhand from a guy in a forum, but it was a sealed box. You know, the label was uncut, so this is, you know, right out of the factory. This is a drag-tuned motor, so it's already got the aluminum, screws in it, aluminum motor screws. So it's already, not gonna pick up that stuff. That's a magnet, obviously. So this is their drag spec motors. This has come out of the factory, I believe, like this. And when I first got it, I sat here for a little while because it was winter and I didn't have things done and ready. So after a little while, I was able to pick up a motor analyzer and I stuck it on the analyzer. And when I originally stuck it on and just looked at the numbers, what I got was a 12-degree timing, and that was 13 on A and 11 on B and C poles. When I was 13, 94 dB, so a little louder motor, but not bad. But it gave me a KV of 7035 with a U rating of 7.1, RPM of 50,000. I wrote down 49,951. But it was showing 52,000 somewhere in there, bouncing up in that area, and a I rating of drawing 5.7 amps. So the thing was timed pretty well. All right, so it's overcharged. Well, give me a second here. Let's drop that back down. Let's run to a discharge rate. Half an amp. got a pack here that's got a broken balance lead. Alright, I'm gonna have to piss with that. It's got a broken balance lead in it. It's not working quite right. I thought it was gonna be okay, but I have to play with that. So back to the topic at hand. So I picked up this DRK, or I'm sorry, this 4.5 turn pre-DRK motor used. Paid almost full price for it, but I did get a little deal on it but it was in a brand new box, unopened. And I've had it for a little bit, waiting to go into my rig. Of course, I'm in Michigan and it's winter here. So it wasn't soldered in. And I, of course, checked it all out and soldered it into my rig and then said, I'm going to switch some things around. So it came back out. So I had soldered on it now. But it's a brand new motor. And I got talking to some of the guys. And they said, yes, absolutely. You can put the DRK Rotor. Because I was asking the people on the Maclan page over on Facebook, what is a, tell me a little bit about this motor. And, it was a pre-DRK drag tune. So they, kind of everybody knew what they were looking at. And a couple of the team guys, or the Maclan guys, said, stick a, DRK rotor in this. A DRK rotor would fit. And I said, yes, it would. So I ordered up a Drag Race Concepts 13 millimeter rotor, and we're going to swap that out today. I've never done one before, so this is a new one on me. So I, did some reading and a little bit of research, wanted to make sure I'm doing things properly. So I took a look around and, like I said, made sure what was what, and so I knew what the heck I was doing to make sure I wasn't doing anything wrong. It's pretty simple. Pull the old rotor out, slide the new rotor in, make sure everything is properly shimmed as it hopefully was, and this is. It's well shimmed. There's almost no play in the rotor, I believe. Yeah, I mean, you can see that there is just about nothing, allowing just for a little bit of heat expansion and be up in there. But I thought I'd go ahead and hook up real quick, throw it on, do a quick test of the numbers before I start. Make sure I'm plugging in the right way, and then one afterwards, after we swap it out so I can compare numbers. I already wrote the numbers down the first time, but just in case I need to change them, here, this can come over here, I think. Stay up out my way. Here, let's put it over here. Don't need those. I thought I might. Forgot. See. That one's kind of loose. I might have to check that out. Anyways, this one's kind of a pain. That'll work. Flip it around, actually. Keep it isolated so it's not gonna go. Let me check timing here. It's an easy one to hit first and make sure everything is okay. Same thing, 13, 11, 11. Oh, that's right. This thing's got those holes in it. All right, average of 12. So, thank you. Yep, that's fine.
I'm gonna go smoke my cigarette now. Okay.
I know it's a 2-pole motor, and that's already set. $93 dB. So, now we'll go back one more. We'll go up to KVM. That's showing 6984 kV, 5.7 amps, 7.3 volt supply, and 50,985 RPM. From my understanding, Josh, the extra little bit of 0.5 millimeter rotor length typically is going to imply more magnetism, more magnets on the rotor, so you get a little bit more magnetic strength, so you can pull a little bit more torque with the maintaining the high RPM. So it's like adding, torque to your low end, some push out of the hole, if you will, by going to a slightly different rotor. Now, with this, it turns out that this 13 millimeter DRK rotor will fit into this motor, so you got to double check that. But my understanding is the higher KV, or I'm sorry, the higher, the longer rotor is going to give you more torque out of the hole. As the motor is spinning up, it's going to have more, nut. Let me see. I think I got to take these out first. No, that's not the one in there. Make sure I do have the right one. That one's nice and tight. So yeah, I've never done this stuff before, so this is going to be kind of new for me. And I figure, well, learn and succeed, or learn and fail together, so you can hopefully succeed if I have a problem. We shouldn't, though. This is a pretty straightforward process. Okay. These out. I don't know that I have to loosen the back ones. That's for the timing. I think I can leave them fine. So I'm going to put this one here just to hold it in place. Okay. It's still kind of working like the camera's up on top there. I'm going to go ahead and undo this. I don't need to sit there and juice. So the numbers are pretty much the same, a little bit different RPM than before, but it's always going to shave a little bit. Okay, Maclan, that goes in the middle. She's a snuggie. Okay, 4.5 turn right here etched in there, lasered in there. I don't really see it that well. Kind of just a little bit in the reflection of the light here. All right. So there's a bearing here. Oh, a shim. Got a nice shim there, so we'll take that one off. That was a little tough. Not too bad. it's going to be able to be seen or not well in there. So let me do this so we can all get a little look. And whitewash should be a little better this time. Okay, so here's our Maclan Racing 12mm rotor, or 12.5mm rotor out of the Pre-DRK 4.5 turn. Schmutz on the side of it. Had one spacer in it on this end. The other end doesn't look like there's a spacer. It looks like it's just the bearing, but we'll see. I've got some motor shims if I need, but I think I should be okay. And this is a 0.5 millimeter extra. Oh, there are a couple of other baby shims there on top of that. So there are a couple extra shims, and make sure that's all of them. So if you can see, probably can't see down there well. We'll try. There we go. You can see down inside the rotor there, you got your magnets of your armature. There we go. Come on, get in there. Give you a little bit of love here for. There, getting a little bit better light in the situation. Just needed to focus a tad. Even down here, this thing trying to focus on everything out back and the butt. There we go. So you can kind of see the sensors setting in there. The 3 little black pads setting off just to the side. See them kind of right there? Those are your sensors. Now, the distance of those sensors from the rotor is what gives you your motor timing on each armature. There's a 3-point stator base, or 3-point armature. So it's got like a 3-phase motor, 3 different levels of current flow through it. And those sensors are what is measured when people talk about, measuring your sensors, or your sensors fell off, whatever. Not necessarily, Josh. Give me a sec here. But that measures your sensors, the distance, and that's where you get your motor timing, where I had an average of 12 with A sensor being 13 and B and C being 11. That's what it's measuring, is the rating, the power juice flow is, timing of that is 13, 11, 11. That's measuring those sensors. Now you can make those numbers even, but what you have to do is unsolder, and that sensor has to move either upward a micromillimeter or downward a micromillimeter until you get all 3 sensors reading the same: 11, 11, 11, 12, 12, 12, 13, 12, 12, 13, 12, 11, or 13, 12, 13. So they're, basically, if you get them all reading 11 or all reading 12, they're all reading the same. Your sensors are the same exact height, and as the rotor is spinning, it's picking up the same signal from the rotor, and that's, what drag tuning is, basically. So yeah, this is all magnetic, so it goes in pretty tight, but came out very easy. So let's go ahead and open up this 13mm roller. Now, the difference there, Josh, as I understand it, not necessarily the longer the rotor, the more RPM. Is generally the longer the rotor, the more torque. The stronger the magnets, the more torque it makes. But there's a difference, just like in real motors and regular gas engines and any other motor. You got a fine line between how much torque and how much RPM you're going to get. And of course, a lot of that has to do with your sensor positioning and everything as well. So that's why I kind of wanted to get over the rest of that sense, because, you know, I'm just learning all this. Again, I've never done this before. This is all kind of new to me. So this is MCL 4218, and this is MCL 4187, and that's the rotor numbers. And it's stamped right here. Ooh, wow. Whoops. You can feel these things interacting right here. I mean, they're that far away. Oh, careful. Don't want to break them. This is some pretty strong rotors. Okay. They're interacting with each other this far away. You can feel those magnetic forces pulling on them as I'm just passing them. So this is the stock rotor, and you can see right on the shaft, if I can get this thing to focus here. Come on. Right here on the shaft. Give me some focus, baby. Come on, little camera that can. There it is. 12.5 millimeters. On this one, hopefully a little camera that can. Let me turn it around. This one's 13 millimeters. And it's stamped right on where your pinion goes. I could kind of lay them together, but I really don't want to, because they're going to kind of knock together again. You don't want to do that, because that's going to put, you know, marks in it. So we'll put the 13 aside for a moment. Look at that. That thing's because I was moving this. That's how strong these magnets are in these things. Now this rotor, considering this is a 12.5 millimeter drag spec, it's, you know, specifically chosen, hand chosen rotor for this motor setup when it was built. And these DRK rotors are all kind of hand spec, hand chosen rotors for the higher end motors, as I understand. That rotor, I am probably going to potentially throw in the 13.5 rig. So my question is, I don't think those are on there. I think they're on this, on the back side. So I'm pretty sure, I don't know, they might have slipped off that thing. Dang, I wish I would have known for sure where those two come from. Gently let that go in. Now, to do your shimming, I'll put these two on, because this is a half a millimeter longer, so I almost certainly shouldn't need that one. So what you got to do now is do some reassembly and testing. Get this thing back together. And you gotta get it together. You want to kind of hold it, put your screws back in, but you should be able to hold it firm enough, and then check your play. So I still got actually, wow. A lot of play there. What's up with that? Let me go ahead and put my motor screws back in and see here. Pull my other one back out and take another good look at it, because that's way too much play. these are tightened up, because that'll probably hold everything in place. Yeah. Okay, still way much. So yeah, maybe I do need that shim. Let's take her back apart. So this is going to be the time. Well, I know there's shims on both sides, and I think you're right. It does go to, some of them are on the sensor side. Everything I've seen, you got the sensor side, and then of course the back side for the shaft. And that's what I'll do. I'll take these two small ones. I'll put those on the bottom side. And it might be a little trickier to install that way, but that's, I think you're right. I think they do go on there. Then I'll put this other one on the outside before the can head goes on. Because yeah, what you obviously want to do is shim your rotor so it's this, you know, a good distance, about 1 millimeter away from your sensors, I believe. See, well, people use pliers just to grab a hold of that and pull it out. Come on now. I don't know how this is going to work. Okay, allow me to slide it out there. I can live with that. Yeah, I'll put these two on this side. On the sensor side, I don't think they're going to fall off like that. Dang, sucker just jumps down there. Okay, I'll slide this one on. I still may or may not need that. I've got, like I said, I got others, so. Let's see what we get here. Okay, let's see, I've got one shim still here, and there's still some room. I must have dropped one off. There it is. All right, let me see for a second. Set that there. Good look. Okay. Try to hold this thing well so I don't slap in there. Okay, slide this back in here. give this a slide back in. Yeah, still a little bit more than I want. Although I'm not sure where my gapping's at on the center side. So let's take a look here. And then I've also have a couple packs of Trinity shims. Shims should be shims. So these are 0.2s. These are 0.012s. Of course, you want some play. So let me start out with a 0.2. These are probably just non-Ziploc bags, aren't they? Okay. So let me do this. And I'll open these up. Just go in a bag of one. That's all of them. One more up there. So I'll leave this one out. Okay, marker. Mac 0.2, 0.02 actually. Two motor shims. Let's go ahead and get this one opened up. Done. Another smart way of doing it is just put that in there. You're probably gonna have to cut it down to make it fit, a little bit. Okay. goes in here. Keep one out. And slide that one in there. I'm still going to write on it just in case. 0.012s, right? Okay, so let's start out with one more. We'll start out with the 0.02. Just take a little bit more of that play out. Okay, now let's see where we're at. Yeah, see, now I got none. I can see a little gap there, so that's too much. So I'll take that one off. Come on. Okay, it fell off. We'll try this one. And I think I got some real thin ones in my Trinity stuff if I need. Let's see how we got there. Looks like we're still kind of apart on the motor. And there is no shim give there, no play at all. So I think we're still too tight. So I'm going to pop that one off. Come on, baby. We'll push that puppy out around. So let me slide this one into here. Open sesame. This one in here. Let me see what I got in my Trinity stuff. These off the wall. Got a nylon and a magnetic shim kit here. So let's take a look. Doesn't really say what they are. Come on. There's some thin ones there. Those ones are about 2, but those Teflons are probably thinner than that brass was. Let me take a look. Now that's like a multi-piece. Let me see what we got in here. Just to take a peek, these are all the same size, I think. It's like they're Teflon motor shims, and these are the Trinity's brasses. Just a 5-piece. Okay, this is a fat one and a couple thin ones too. Look to be about the same on the brass. How are they compared to these? There's some various in here, but that's the thinnest one right there. So let me see what I've got here on these. He's got these Teflons, which are pretty thin. The 3 metals are about the same. So I'm going to try one of these Trinities. We got some real thin Teflon here. Let's stick one of these on the outside. Come on now. Put you on. You on. Okay. Together. And there is just a little play in there. You can feel it kicking back and forth now. About what it was before. Just a smidge. So we're going to call that adjusted. I really thought I would have to take some of the other shim out, being it was a longer rotor. I'm just checking centering. This should all be very easy in and out. Okay. So let's tighten our motor screws here. Just going to give them a good snug. They weren't all that super tight. They're aluminum, so you don't want to really trach them down too much because you'll strip them out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and loosen this up and take a look at the back side. Just because got that kind of loose tab there. Feels loose. I'm going to take a look at what's going on. When I was soldering it up, I was having some problems, so I probably got that one a little warm, or potentially got that one a little warm. It's all in there good. Might have unglued a little bit. I can take care of that though, but it's in there tight. You got a little crap rundown on that. Fix that. do this, and I picked up some better tips. More of a nice wedge solder tip in case I needed. Picked up a couple of different. Oh, no way. Oh, are you kidding me? Too big. All right. Piss me off, you fucking jerk. All right. Now I'll have to return those as the wrong size. Make sure it just ain't that one. It's too big, and usually these Hakos fit in here, or Hako replacement styles fit in here. Nope. Eep. Okay, I'll have to take care of that. I thought those are the right size. You back in here and get you nice and tight. All right, so that's not bad. I can live with it for now. Well, I do need to clean that little spot up. Potential spot of issue. See if I can just cut this off. Sometimes this stuff's soft enough. Look at that. I'll just cut that excess off. A little blob of solder down here. Clean up that excess smuts. Okay, let me take a look here. It's cleaning up some of my crappy solder work. Before I slide this puppy back together. There. It's cutting out this excess crap. Okay. And that one goes there. And let's see where we are here. Setting just before 20, that's where it was. It was setting at 12, obviously. I already did those, so go ahead and snug those in place a little bit. Now, I like that Trinity little setup. That was nice. These are basically the same thing, brass, and these are aluminum and Teflon. So I'm going to put these into just one Trinity bag, so I don't need two of them. Put that back on the wall. And so they're all together. I got all my motor shims in one place. Stick that back into there. So All things being created equal, I should have this DRK rotor installed now. Like I say, as you look, you know, pop out this other lights to make a little bit more. Steal a cigarette from the old lady, because when I'm doing this shit, my mind's in 3 places at once. Okay. You up over here for a few minutes, Mr. DRK. Go there, you can go there, you can go back down there. I don't even know what the hell I had those up for. Go ahead and do it this way. Now, this is number A, yellow. Go ahead and put our sensor cable back in. Spin it, yep. Reading our A, B, C. Reading our sensors. Okay. So I want to be on motor timing here. Come to A. And C. It's just right to get on setting on those darn things. And B. Okay. So we should be set for timing check. Kind of loose. So it's kind of hitting the metal. Now it's setting at 22 degrees. 23, 21, 21. So 13, 11, 11 to 23, 21, 21. 10 points across the board. That, and it sounded like it revved up a little higher than it did before. So average is 22, so I want to write that down. Average is 22 degrees, and that is A at 23, B at 21, and C at 21. Let's go ahead and check our noise level. There we go. Showing 120 dB. Trying to get it to set well on this thing so it's not vibrating, making more noise. Let's try it again. There we go. 95 dB. And the was 95. Okay. And let's go back to our motor and kV. Shut her down, try to get this thing setting better again. These vent holes in here doesn't ride that rubber that well. Okay, so I've got a kV of 6462. So it actually went down a little bit. A U of 7.3, which is interesting, a little bit more. 7.3 volt draw, an RPM of 47,176. And an I of 5.9. Kind of interesting. So I did pull more torque, but it did take a little RPM away. I was at 50,000 RPM and now I'm at 47. Was at 7035 kV, now I'm at 6462. Drawing 5.7 amp, now it's drawing 5.9. So those numbers, you know, you want to be about a 6 amp draw, which is where it's at. A little bit more, actually pulling 0.2 amp more. But I lost, you know, 3,000 RPM, which is quite a bit of RPM. Now, if I actually pulled up, was able to get more torque and, you know, with a lower kV and be able to gear taller, okay, now I'm making up some of that difference and hopefully getting out of the hole faster and creating more top speed with that. So there we go. I'm going to throw those numbers up at the Maclan crowd over on Facebook and see what the consensus is, what the Maclan guys think those numbers and what they're going to translate to, if they're the same as what I'm thinking here. So the lower kV, I should be able to get a taller gearing. Sure, I lost 3,000 RPM, but I should be able to make that up with more, you know, kV or lower kV, therefore taller gearing to get more RPMs out of the wheels at the end of the moment, even though I lost 3,000 RPM here. Okay, so that kind of wraps that up. I'll go ahead and shut this down. Don't need it running. Got my 3 numbers that I need, at least for this setup. Timing's at 22, which Maclan guys say about 20. Don't jerk that too much. So yeah, we'll see how that ends up. Let me put this away. So yeah, that overall that ain't too bad. So yeah, I think you're right, Josh. I put the 2 thin shims into the sensor side. I didn't see where they've come off of. I didn't think they came off the shaft side of the rotor, which is, you know, so that's where they were going to go next anyways to make sure that was right. But yeah, good call. Because like I say, it popped it out and they were laying there before I realized where they come from. But I think you're right. I think they came off the rotor side, and then there was the bigger spacer shim, and I added one of these real thin Teflons to what was already there. Like I say, I still got just a little bit. Well, now that it's warm, I ain't got much. And not hot, just a little warm for those couple runs. But you know what? Yeah, I think I'm gonna pop that shim off there, because that almost does feel like it's too much now. Now that it's actually ran a minute and gotten warm. Everything's swelled up just a smidge. It almost feels like a little too much. And if there was a little drag, because it was just a little too much, then that will definitely drop my RPMs and KVs and stuff, because it's going to be, causing more push. Now, the only thing I don't know is if this motor has ceramic bearings. It might not. If it doesn't, then it will probably get them. Take that one out and just go back to the way it was. I think we're going to be golden. Yeah, I think it is just a little too snug even with that one in there. So yeah, it was pretty much properly right where it needed to be. Right where it needed to be, I believe. Okay. There is just a smidgen again. And I'll probably drop this on the motor analyzer one more time before I solder it up, just to make sure the numbers are looking well. And I'll throw those numbers up and see where the Maclan guys themselves think it's sitting at. All right, let me pick this thing up before I lose it. So yeah, that wasn't too hard, pretty straightforward. That was already a spec motor being dragged, a drag spec motor right out of Maclan themselves. So it had already been, shimmed all the way full and properly. So I thought I was going to have to shim a little differently just because of the longer rotor, but obviously not. I actually added one shim because I thought there was a little too much slop in there, and that was a little too much. So took it back off, dropped it back in the bag, no extra shims. So yeah, DRK 13 or DRK rotor, 13 millimeter rotor does fit in the MMR2 drag spec pre-DRK Maclan motors. FYI, anybody looking. So yeah, I'm going to throw these numbers over on the Drag Race Concepts Facebook page and see what the guys and gals over there might think about those numbers. And I haven't opened this yet, so let's go ahead and pop this baby open as well. Everybody's seen them. And I do need the receiver cable. So there's a couple manuals and your warning, your sticker sheet. The side, you can come here. And I can deal with my lipo. And there she be with all of her goodness. USB cable. The fan. And for anybody wondering on these fans, because they do have the, yeah, not up there again, got the Maclan thing on both sides. Be very aware that one side has a brace. This is the bottom. The side with these little braces on here, that's the bottom of the fan. The side that's totally open with the fan blades, that's the top. So make sure you mount it properly. Guys have been burning their fans up, mounting them upside down. Then it's not free spinning because that's pushed into the top of the aluminum on the heatsink, and it binds up and burns up the fan. So it is important to make sure you're putting your fan on right. Cross braces are on the bottom of the fan. They go to the ESC. The top of the fan is the total open side, and it's open up into the air, blowing fan wind onto the ESC. FYI, because I've seen that happen. I didn't use this in my other one, and this is a shorter cable than what came in the MMR. Or I'm sorry, the MMAX. I got an MMAX 160 Pro ESC, and it had a longer cable in it. But this one should be long enough to use. Where is this going to go into this one? Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that'll be fine. Because I left the cable for the MMR in the RedShift. And this one's going to go in that. So I think that should fit between my where I'm going to mount my receiver. If not, I'll have to take the longer one off. Then, of course, pre-soldered cat pack. And then, of course, our motor wires. A, B, and C, and then negative and positive. A, B, and C, and that's negative and positive right there. Oh, nope, wrong one. That one's. So it is important to make sure you're grabbing the right wires. Of course, this will come off this yellow tag here. So that's it, yeah. I will be putting the fan on here and getting that mounted out. There we are. The new soul and heart for the RedShift rig. So now that I've got the rotor in the motor, again, I'll throw it by the Maclan folks and see what they think about those numbers and what they should, translate to. I won't be using the on-off switch. I'll just go direct power from the battery and drop that 1.5 grams. Right on. That goes in there. That goes in there. We'll pack her back up. Just for now, so she ain't falling, getting bounced around and beat up until I'm ready to get her installed. All right. And that's it. Pretty straightforward setup. Wasn't that hard to do. We're an hour and 10 minutes in. Nice little learning lesson here for myself and anybody who happens upon. But yeah, I think you're right on that, Josh. Obviously, there's some shims that go on the sensor. That's how you get your distance away from their sensors. And your motor analyzers will check that in a way. That's what those numbers are, 11 and 12. So that 22, and that's something I want to double check when I talk to the Maclan guys, because I was originally reading 13, 11, 11 at 12 degrees timing, and now I'm reading 23, 21, and 21. If I take one of those front shims out, and I could just do that, pop it open, pull the thing, drop front shim out, and put that back in there, will that lower those numbers? And I might do that too, as well as talk to those guys, because it's always good to have an idea of what exactly these changes mean, so you can plot them before you buy this stuff to make them. Personally, myself, I read up on this stuff and try to knowledge it, but I'm a hands-on guy, so when I can actually put my fingers on it and start using it and applying it, that's when it really comes into play for me. And, that experience, hands-on experience, works a lot. So let me put this in here as just 12.5 millimeter Maclan rotor. From 4.5 turn pre-DRK. And these ones can go back up the other stuff. So yeah, there we go. All right, I'm gonna shut this one down, at least for now, and I might get something going a little bit later, but it's probably 4:35, 5:30 almost, so probably a good time to try to find something for dinner and do all that fun stuff. So thanks for hanging out. Take a few moments if you like what you're seeing, whatever, hit that like, subscribe, and share. Let's grow the channels. You subscribe to me, I'll try to find your channel and subscribe to you if you have one and if you're putting out content. If you're not putting out content, well, comment and I'll, we'll shoot shit back and forth. So anyways, that's it. Install was a success. Numbers look good. I just got to figure out what they mean now. So you guys have a great day. I may or may not do another video yet tonight. So we'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot. Bye.